timer on Siyat Shmaya, Shabbos Parshas Va'atchnan, Shabbos Nachmum, Tazayim Nachmov, Tavshin Chafei. Va'atchnan Alavai Yevagoymer, and I begged and I beseeched Hashem. It says that Moshe Rabbeinu at the beginning of our parsha, he was asking Hashem to enter Eretz Yisrael. Now, the term Va'atchnan, to use it as a term of talking to Hashem, of davening to Hashem, is a very unusual term in the Torah. Up till now, we've had other terms used for a person speaking to Hashem. It says Vayespalel, it says Al Shem, or it says Vayetar Al Shem. There's other types of expressions that are used. Va'atchnan is an unusual expression, and because of that, all the Mefarshim talk about it, the Sifri talks about it, the Shrabba talks about it, Rashi brings down the different opinions of how we could explain why specifically we use the word Va'atchnan over here, when there's like other more common terms that Moshe Rabbeinu could have used to describe his asking Hashem to let him into Eretz Yisrael. So Va'atchnan alavai v'goymer v'isa b'Sifri. Brought down the Sifri, Shnei Parnosim Tovim Amdam Li-Yisrael. There were two very good caretakers, people that were in charge of Klal Yisrael that arose for the Jewish people. Moshe v'David Melch Yisrael, Moshe Rabbeinu and David HaMelech. And because they were tzaddikim, they were able to ask for things and say, this is what I'm owed. This is something that I should get because I have done good. I'm a tzaddik. But still, in all, they only ask from Hashem something to be given to them for free. Just and if these people of such stature, like Moshe and David HaMelech, did not ask for something as if it's owed to them, but they only asked it as a free gift. So Misha Einei Chulu, someone that's not on the level of Moshe Rabbeinu and David HaMelech, halachas kam v'kamish le'evakish mufnei Hashem sh'yitin le'elachinam. How much more so should he only ask from Hashem that he should give it to him, whatever he needs, he should give it to him in a free manner. In other words, not to demand and say, I deserve it, I've done so much for you, Hashem, I've earned it, but rather we should ask as a free gift. Another explanation, Hashem, I have davened to Hashem. So it says, Asara lashonos nikras tefillah. Tefillah is known by 10 expressions. True. We find in other places in Chumash that says V'yispalel, or Bakasha, or it says Vayetar. But Va'atchnan is also one of the 10 expressions of davening. Ve'elohein, and then a similar answer to the second explanation, Sifri is brought down the Medrash Rabbah. 10 expressions tefillah is called by the Elohein Chulu, and the Medrash goes to enumerate the 10 different languages, the 10 different words used in the Chumash for davening. But yet, he could have chosen to use any of those 10. Why did he use specifically this of all the 10 expressions? Because he wanted to daven in a way of tachnunim, in a way of supplication, in a way of begging. From here you derive the Medrash Rabbah says, no creation has anything upon the Creator, meaning that they could demand anything and say, I'm owed anything. Even Moshe Rabbeinu, the greatest of all, he also came to the Eibishter in a way of beseeching and supplication. So how much more so anyone else? The Medrash continues over there. Why did Moshe only come to the Eibishter in an expression of supplication and begging? This is what Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu in Parshas Kisis over there by when it came the forgiveness for the Cheta Egel. So he said, that I will give a a chanina, meaning like a free gift, a matnas chinam, also from the word ve'eschanon, to the one who I will give a free gift, meaning mi she'ein loy biyodi, someone that doesn't come with me and doesn't say that I'm owed anything, that I have these and these merits, and I have this and this reason why you should give me. So then I will give it to him as a free gift if the approach is in such a way that your approach is the one that you realize that you're not owed. So from here, Moshe Rabbeinu derived the message because Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu that Hashem gives kindness and answers the davening of someone that doesn't come expecting and feeling that he's owed. So therefore, Moshe Rabbeinu's approach in this case as well was to approach the same way, and he used the term "Va'atchanan," which means I'm davening to you not based on any types of earned thing, but I'm only asking you for you to give it to me for free. So now the Rebbe is going to make a very subtle differentiation between the first explanation in the Sifri and the second explanation in the Sifri, or the second explanation of the Sifri and the Medrash Rabbah's explanation. Either Va'atchanan just means a free gift, meaning it's entirely free, or it's a tefillah. It's one of the 10 expressions of davening. But the way how I'm davening is I'm not expecting that my tefillah should be answered in such a way that I expect that I earned it because of my schus. And he's going to explain the difference between them. That in the first case, it's totally and completely free. In the second case, where it's davening, but he's not davening based on his own merits, davening still involves the person's engaging and the person's involvement and the person trying to draw it down. There's a certain amount of Isrus Tolasat. Let's see it inside. Line 18, page 8. The idea behind this is, according to the Medrash Rabbah, Ve'atchanan u'echad me'asaru l'shoinish nikras tefillah. Ve'atchanan is one of the 10 expressions that the Torah uses for davening. Sheklalusa, that in general, what is davening about in general? The way it's supposed to be initially, according to the Torah of truth. In other words, like this, he's going to say that davening, it's in such a way that's connected with the service of a person and his merits. That doesn't mean that if I chas v'shalom sinned or if I don't have any merits, I shouldn't daven. But the foundation of approaching Hashem and davening is that I realize and I am connecting because I'm devoted to Hashem. If I'm disconnected from Hashem, I say, I don't do anything Hashem wants me to do. And then I'm going to come and ask and daven. That's no basis upon which to have a relationship. That's no basis upon which to have davening. In a similar vein, it's explained about B'tachan as well, that a person can't just say, I'm doing everything my way and not listening to Hashem, and then I'm going to have B'tachan. And because I have B'tachan Hashem, all brach should come down. B'tachan means a relationship. The same thing, tefillah means a relationship. And for a relationship to work, there has to be a two-way road. And part of that is that I am starting off with a premise that I need to be somehow connected to Hashem through doing Torah mitzvahs. Then he says in the brackets, line 22, also to note from the explanation that tefillah is also from the word, it says hatoifel, like a toifel klicher, someone that's throwing pottery. What happens when you're throwing pottery? You take clods of earth and you're joining them. So tefillah is from the word joining. What does that mean, joining? Joining happens when I'm on the same page with Hashem. There needs to be a joining and association with the one that he's davening to him. So through recognizing that Hashem is the craftsman that made him, just like throwing pottery, there's the the pottery maker, he's a craftsman, the same thing. I have to realize Hashem is my maker. And therefore, I have merits, I have earned some type of, done something on my part to be able to have this type of connection. Therefore, he is worthy that his request should be fulfilled. But that's only the premise. Do I daven for Hashem because I have earned? No. A person should not daven to the Eibishter and hang, if you will, and make the tefillah dependent upon his own merits and approach it and say, well, I've been doing so and so, and I've been devoted in such and such a manner. Therefore, the Eibishter, you owe me. It's known that even what Hashem gives as a reward, even the reward that he gives is not in such a way that he's obligated to give. Like it says in the pasuk, it's actually today's Tillim. It says, that to you Hashem is kindness because you pay a person according to their actions. So the Farshim asks, that's called kindness? Do we call it kind when an employer pays their employee? That's only right. It's justice. It's correct. It's doing the right thing. Kindness means going above and beyond what's expected of you or what you're obligated to do. Yet, what do we say about the Eibishter? That by Hashem, it's considered a kindness, not a righteousness, not a tzedakah, not a mishpat, not doing the right thing. But it's called kindness that the Eibishter pays a person according to his action. How come? Because really, what the Eibishter gives as reward, like we just now said, is not something that the Eibishter is obligated. Even the payment that the Eibishter pays according to our actions is also the kindness of the Eibishter. How come? Isn't there a system that the Eibishter set up? Didn't the Eibishter set up a system of reward that when we do A, so then the reward is B? In Chassidus terminology, the Eibishter set up a system that it's a rusa dolasata, it's a rusa dolayla. According to what we work down here below, according to our inspiration down here below, in response to that, there is a response from above, it's rusa dolayla. So how could you say that the Eibishter is not obligated to do that? Isn't that part of the system that the Eibishter established? Let's see it inside line 5, in the brackets behind them. Because the general idea that by the inspiration down here below, we bring about an inspiration from above is only because that arose in the will of Hashem. So therefore, that's first of all. The first thing is the very fact that what we do should evoke something above is not something that must be. Hashem decided that he will do so and he will give us something. You can have, Zaidi telling the grandchild to say, you know what, if you draw me a nice picture, I'll give you $10. Is the picture worth $10? Does the grandfather need the picture? Can we really say that the child earned the $10? No, the Zaidi just decided that he wants to have a picture drawn by his grandchild, and he said, I'll give you $10 for it. How much more so to the Eibishter and us? The Eibishter told us, you know what, you'll do Torah mitzvahs, I'll give you such and such reward, and I'll give you reward. It's Rustal Asata, it's Rustal Eila. But it's not that the Eibishter is really obligated to do so. It's only because Hashem chose and decided he wants to do so. Line 8. Even after it arose in his will, that the avodah should awaken the Eibishter, should inspire the Eibishter. But that itself is mitnei tzaynis barach. The only reason why our avodah can affect anisirus delayla by Hashem, can touch Hashem, is only because that's what arose in his will. But Nasa came bems, and because that was his will, then it becomes a true quid pro quo. Then this becomes a real type of connection. It's not that the Eibishter is faking it. The Eibishter put this in to a system. And now the system is something that the Eibishter wanted. And because the Eibishter wanted it, so now it becomes real and it's reality. After all is said and done, this is all because of Hashem's kindness. So the very fact that He pays us for what we're doing, that itself is Hashem's kindness. So he goes on line 11. Therefore, it is appropriate and makes sense, and we need to daven to the Eibishter first of all. In other words, if I'm working for someone, I don't have to talk to him and ask him for my paycheck. It's a given. I work, I did my work, so he gives me my paycheck. End of story. But here, we're saying, in addition to everything that I've done good, I need a daven as well. I need to ask Hashem to give me what I need, to give me parnasa, to give me help, to give me whatever else I need. Why? Because this is something that's considered, after all said and done, Hashem's kindness. And not only that, but when I ask for what I need, it's not in the way of an employee going to his employer and saying, please, can you give me my check? No, it's in a way totally va'ad l'tfilah b'mshoin tachnunim. But to such a degree where the davening is in a way of supplication, as if we would be asking a free gift. And the Rebbe says parenthetically, though in truth it's not really a free gift, because the person is really worthy of it because of his service and because of his merits. That is the approach of the Medrash Rabbah that we spoke about before, that Ve'etchadnan is one of the 10 expressions of Tachnunim, the 10 expressions of Tefillah, that just like Moshe and David, just like Moshe Rabbeinu had many zchusim and had enough to ask Hashem that he has earned, he still did not ask to say that he's owed this, but he asked and he davened in a way of tachnun, of a free gift, of matnas chib. As opposed to the approach of the Sifri, Va'etchadnan is the request that the Eibishter should give it for free. It's not part of the 10 expressions that davening is called. Like we started off the idea that davening is connected with my avodah, davening is connected with my merits. So rather, Ve'etchadnan has nothing to do with davening. It's not part of the 10 expressions of davening. Davening is about, I come to the table with something, but I'm still not asking because of what I came to the table with. But Ve'etchadnan is not even part of those 10 expressions. Rather, he's in a different way. Since he's in such a level that he feels that he has no merits, that because of those merits he should be worthy that the Eibishter should fulfill his request. Therefore, all he requests from the Eibishter is that he should give him chinam for free, a truly free gift. So essentially, the difference between the true approaches, the approach of the beginning of the Sifri, the approach of the Medrash Rabbah, the Medrash Rabbah's approach is that I'm approaching and asking as a free gift, even though I'm owed. In other words, it's not really a free gift, but I express myself in one of the 10 expressions of davening, which davening is not about free, but I'm expressing myself in a way of a free gift. In the approach of the first pshat in the Sifri, I'm approaching completely this. It's not about davening, which means about my merits and so on. It's completely, I do not see myself as worthy of anything. Rather, I'm just asking for a totally free gift where I have not earned it at all whatsoever. Any questions?
But this has to do with a specific situation that he was in, meaning he wanted to go to Eretz Yisrael, and that's why the expression is relevant here. Meaning, in other places, what's the expression he uses to pray?
So later on, we're going to explain the connection with Eretz Yisrael, Al Pi Pnimius Yonim. But B'Pashtus, all the other places where we see that Moshe Rabbeinu davened in Chumash, he was davening for someone or something else. So, for example, when it was in the middle of the Makkos and Pari wanted to stop the Makkos, so he davened to the Eibishter that the Makkos should stop from the Mitzvah. Or when there was the Cheta Egel and Moshe Rabbeinu davened that the Eibishter should forgive them. So again, he was davening for others. When you're davening for others, it doesn't apply the term to say, I'm unworthy, I have no merits, I have no... It's a whole different type of dynamic when you're talking about somebody else. Here, I believe, is the only place where you see a term of davening and request. I mean, there were other requests that the Eibishter said, that Moshe Rabbeinu said, but it's not used as an expression of davening. He asked to see Hashem's face, for example, but wasn't a way of davening. Here was a personal request that meant so deep to Moshe Rabbeinu that he was either davening or he was asking it for a free gift. Okay, let's continue on the bottom of page Vav, line 23. Yes, we can add to this distinction between these two types of ways of understanding Moshe Rabbeinu's tefillah, and the same thing, understanding how we're supposed to approach Hashem. The Hinei Mevor B'Drush Chassidus, to explain to Amor Chassidus, Sha'asara l'shoyne shel tefillah im keneged esas for the Shabbat Malchus Atzilus. Malchus, as we know, being one of the 10 spheres of Atzilus, just like we say that there's 10 spheres in general, the same thing, every sphere has 10 spheres within them. And Malchus, which has to do with davening, says that David HaMelech, who corresponds to the level of spheres of Malchus, says Va'ani Sfila. So Malchus represents the entire idea of davening. The sphere of Malchus has to do with tefillah in general, and Malchus is always in a state of tefillah because it's waiting, and less klum, it has nothing but its own. It's waiting to receive from above. It's the Makabel, etc., etc. So in Malchus, there's 10 spheres. That corresponds to the 10 expressions of davening that there is, because Malchus is the level of davening. And asking, and one of the expressions of davening, where we request a free gift, is the level of keser of Malchus. Because of this level, when we're talking about keser Malchus, top of page Zayin, kula kamei kalachshi, everything before the Eibishter is considered as if it's nothing, and therefore that is why it's a matnas chinam, because I have no significance. So therefore, whatever I do is not worthy enough, because for Keser it's way beyond us. Perhaps we could say that Rebbe adds the 2 levels of matnas chinam, whether it's davening in such a way, it's an expression of davening, where the davening I'm asking, as even though I have merits, I'm davening despite that I should be given it for free, or it's not even a concept of davening, just a request for a totally free gift. So he says that the 2 levels and the 2 types of free gifts, these correspond to the 2 levels in Keser. There is mitzad chetzonis hakeser arich, from the perspective of the external part of Keser, which is arich hanpin. There is value, there is importance and significance for the created beings, and therefore there's significance to their service. The idea of a free gift is only in the language of the one that's davening. I'm sorry. It's in the language of the davener, meaning it's something that's part of the 10 lashonis of davening. It still relates to the davening of the person, as opposed to the perspective from the inner part of Keser, Atik, the kula kamek lochshiv mamish, that everything before him is actually considered nothing. The Rebbe sometimes points out a difference between killah or lochshiv. Kill lochshiv means it's as if nothing. It's considered as if it's nothing. Killa, with a chaf hadimian. But the Rebbe uses over here the term when he's talking about pnimius hakeser, that he's talking about lachashit. It's not. It's considered nothing completely. So so then we can only ask as a true matnas chinam, as a true free gift, because it's not. There is no significance of my avodah. Never touches and has any significance when we're talking about the level of pnimius hakeser. Base. Shlomo, we could say, the type of davening in a way of a free gift, is the idea of the tefillah of Shabbos. The entire idea of Shabbos is in the way of a gift. The Chazal say, I have a good gift in my treasure house, with Shabbos, and its name is Shabbos. So we see this association between Shabbos and being a gift. Pratis Yoser, even more specifically, he got in a gam inyanat tefillah should be moisachoil who bechinas Shabbos. Also, when we daven during the weekday, is also considered the level of Shabbos. Yedu, as it's known, shezeu inyana oras Shabbos klishnim sheches be moisachoil, that the davening during the week, that's a ray of Shabbos during the weekday, because it's like a time where we're removed from the world, just like the entire 25 hours of Shabbos. We remove ourselves from the world and worldly occupations, and we are trying to connect more with Hashem. The same thing on a daily basis when we daven. So that is a time when we completely cut ourselves off from the world and we try to elevate and connect to the Eibishter. So it's a ray of Shabbos in the middle of the week is when we daven. So therefore, the davening in the middle of the week is also similar to this concept of a gift. He says, according to this, we could say, the two ways and the two explanations that we mentioned before in V'escham. A tefillah that's only, we use the term beseeching and begging and supplication as if we're asking for a free gift, like the Medrash Rabbah says. It's just one of the 10 expressions of davening. It's davening, and davening means I have a certain connection. I have earned something. I do have merit, but I'm just speaking in a way that I'm not asking based on my merit. But on the other hand, there's the tefillah shehi bakashas matnas chinam mamish kipir sifri. Then there's a type of davening that totally is out of the realm of davening. It's not the 10 expressions of davening. It's just a total and complete free gift, like the Sifri explains. In Shnei HaInyanim, these are the two aspects, the tefillah shemois ha'choil, tefillah Shabbos, the weekday davening versus Shabbos davening. The tefillah shemois ha'choil, the weekday davening, Shabbos, even though it's like we said before, the ray of Shabbos and so on, it's still the level of Shabbos that's during the weekday. Since therefore the tefillah is also in a way of avodah and toil, and it's a time where we have to be mevar berurim and nafshabamis, just like in general the weekdays is about toil and labor and so on. We also have the idea of saying tachnun, which tachnun also shows on the idea of working on myself and changing myself and earning the Eibishter's wanting to respond to me because I'm asking him, forgive me for anything I did wrong. We have a Shabbos, but during Shabbos, the davening is not in a way of work and labor and toil. We do not say, forgive us, because already on Erev Shabbos, after midday, all judgments leave, because that's why we don't say Tachna already after midday on Friday, because all the levels of judgments leave this world. Shabbos is the davening in a way of a gift. Hein betfils leil Shabbos, both in the davening of Friday night, Shabbos even higher on Shabbos day, especially Shabbos after midday, which is Raiva the Raiva, which is the will of all wills. Now, when you're talking about Shal Shudas time, Raiva the Raivim, etc., that is the primary time when Shabbos, the davening is called, and Shabbos in general is called a gift.